Good evening, I'm Ian Hanomansing. Tonight, new job gains provide new reason for hope.
Every day I wake up in the morning just see I hope I get a phone call from work.
How the service economy might grow in the months ahead. Also tonight, the Minister of National Defense fights back.
He did not give me any details. I did not allow him to give me any details.
A police officer is charged with murder in a case that's shaken women across the UK.
Spaces should be safe for women, and that it's not our behaviour that needs to change. It's not about what we wear, it's not about what time we go out.
And my conversation with some essential workers.
They were afraid for their lives. They didn't know what was happening.
Their view of the pandemic from the front lines. This is The National. On tonight, many of us are thinking back to 1 year ago when businesses and events were shutting down across the country. We begin with two stories of optimism, and the subject may surprise you: Canada's economy. The battered job market made a surprise comeback in February. Tonight, a hopeful glimpse at what that might lead to. And let's begin with the numbers. More than 250,000 Canadian workers found a job last month, nearly making up for 2 months of losses. Most were in the private sector, mostly part-time, and the unemployment rate, it fell to its lowest level in a year. Still, Canada is down nearly 600,000 jobs since this all began. In a moment, why summer could bring record spending on the things that we enjoy. But Jacqueline Hansen begins with a snapshot of today.
Calgary's Monkey Bistro reopened for a second time in February. It had closed most recently in December when rising COVID cases forced another wave of job losses.
Almost half of the last year we've had our doors closed for dine-in.
Capacity is still limited and that limits business. Sales are down a third.
It definitely hit us pretty hard, but we do our best to get as many people in through our doors as we can.
Still, every employee who wanted back is back, part of last month's surge in rehiring in some of the hardest hit sectors.
The fact that we are starting to see some of these lower wage jobs come back, I think that's positive. It does signal that as we move forward, as we are able to reopen our economy, we can anticipate job gains will continue.
But despite the gains, nearly a quarter of the restaurant and hotel workforce is still jobless. For 17 years, Akram Abri was a porter at a downtown Toronto hotel. When the pandemic hit, he was sent home.
It was difficult for me. Like, my life totally changed.
He relies on government support and can no longer send money to his parents in Indonesia.
Every day I wake up in the morning just see I hope I get a phone call from work and tell me when I'm coming back.
Nearly 600,000 Canadians who had a job this time last year don't. And 400,000 are working fewer than half the hours they used to. Further healing of the job market will depend on healthy Canadians.
Or that we can get jabs in the arms, so to speak, on this vaccine rollout, which will allow us to start congregating together, the better it's going to be for the job market and the better it's going to be for the Canadian economy.
A key to the confidence workers crave.
I want to keep them as secure and as confident as possible that another lockdown won't happen, but unfortunately I'm not. I don't have that kind of power.
And hope for those left behind by a still uneven recovery. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
You probably know workers who lost jobs in the last year, but also many who kept working. And a lot of them saved money and they may be ready to spend it. Peter Armstrong shows us what that could look like.
There's a little light finally breaking through at Massey Hall. Canada's most legendary music venue decided to spend $180 million on this renovation, and the pandemic hit.
We were subject to a 6-week suspension of construction back last spring.
Suddenly, the prospect of packing into a crowded theater to sing along with your favorite band wasn't exactly a profitable business model. But now, the light at the edge of the venue is brightening into a glimmer of hope.
Well, we've certainly seen throughout history there are countless precedents where following a significant calamity, you have a period of real buoyancy, especially for sectors like ours where people gather en masse.
By this summer, as vaccines get off the planes and into arms, economists and business owners are bracing for a wave of economic activity unlike anything we've seen in decades.
The damage of this crisis is very, very deep, but also very narrow.
When COVID hit, GDP collapsed. Millions of jobs were lost, but millions more worked from home. And in doing so, they saved billions. Now they're hungry to spend.
The money that will be spent on services. Exactly where you need the jobs.
So all those businesses that cater to experience, from tourism and sporting events to concerts and bars, are getting ready.
People have called and they're all looking to book and they all want to play. They're aching to play again.
Bars like this one are scraping by selling takeout, but musicians are reaching out again, betting the summer's wave will be a good one.
We're really counting on it, where we've gathered so much debt at this point and are just kind of scraping by.
There's still much that can go wrong, but for the first time in a year, hope stands at least a decent chance. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, any economic boom assumes case numbers will be declining and provinces reopening. And right now in Ontario, what's happening is the opposite. After being flat for nearly a month, infection rates now appear to be on their way up again. Several regions are now tightening restrictions or putting plans to relax them on hold. That includes Peel Region, where a single Amazon warehouse has been linked to hundreds of infections. Here's Makta Gebrselassie on why it's being closed now.
As cases declined in the rest of the region, at this Amazon warehouse, they exploded. It's now closing, but this worker is taking it in stride.
I am not worried that I can have COVID here because they have every safety precaution.
While she says her test results came back negative, that wasn't the case for many of her colleagues. The medical officer of health for Peel Region says more than 600 people have been infected at this location since the fall.
240 of those were detected just in the last few weeks. So you can see that there's a significant growth in the number of cases.
Peel has been a hotspot for COVID throughout the pandemic. It's had more than 300 workplace outbreaks. While public health investigates what happened here, all workers have been ordered to self-isolate for the next 2 weeks, a decision that will impact nearly 5,000 workers. Govg says she's heard from workers at the facility about safety concerns.
Even though they had that staggered start times, the staggered break times, but then still while they were in the work floor, it was literally hard for them, close to impossible for workers to maintain the social distancing.
Amazon says it has spent millions on safety measures and equipment since the beginning of the pandemic and put in place new social distancing measures. In a statement, a company spokesperson said, "We do not believe the data supports this closure and we will appeal this decision." As for the workers, the company says they will be paid for the time that they are in quarantine and that the closure may affect customers waiting on their packages. Makta Gebrselassie, CBC News, Toronto.
While some provinces are dealing with rising cases, the Prime Minister confirmed the flow of vaccines is set to become a flood.
Canada will receive at least 1 million Pfizer doses per week from March 22nd to May 10th. 1 million doses of Pfizer alone every 7 days.
Now, combine that with deliveries of Moderna and AstraZeneca, and the provinces will soon need to vaccinate people at more than double the current pace just to keep up with supply. And we still don't have details on the delivery of the Johnson & Johnson shots. All to other news now, starting with the latest criticism of the government for its handling of sexual misconduct allegations in the military. Today, the Defence Minister, Harjit Sajjan, was grilled at a parliamentary committee and confronted with testimony of a former ombudsman. Maury Brewster explains how it played out.
At the very end of this private conversation, Mr. Walburn brought up concerns of misconduct involving the former Chief of Defence Staff.
Harjit Sajjan broke his silence today about what happened in a March 2018 meeting with then military ombudsman Gary Walbourne.
He did not give me any details. I did not allow him to give me any details.
On those points, he and Walbourne agree. Where they differ is on what happened next. Sajjan says he told the ombudsman to use his authority, which would have included handing the allegations over to military police.
I cannot intervene because it would be obstruction of an investigation. No politician should do that.
But for the opposition, it wasn't a question of what the ombudsman should or should not have done.
We do know today that in 2018, both you, Mr. Minister, and the Prime Minister knew that there were allegations of sexual misconduct against the Chief of Defence Staff, and neither of you took any effective action.
Sajjan did refer the allegation to the Privy Council office. Its investigation was inconclusive. At one point today, it was suggested Sajjan look the other way because he and Vance served together in Afghanistan.
I've had many people, many white men trying to tell me what my experience is. I would go after anybody, regardless of rank or position, if allegations brought forward.
We're angry. We're angry that allegations of inappropriate behavior continue.
According to this high-ranking officer, the misconduct investigations are taking a toll on the military.
We're also tired of constantly being generalized as victims for those of us that are women and sexual predators for my male colleagues.
Tonight, Harjit Sajjan enjoys the confidence of the Prime Minister, who said Sajjan acted quite appropriately in handing off the misconduct allegation. Murray Brewster, CBC News, Ottawa.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo insisted again today he will not step down in the face of allegations from former aides of sexual harassment and groping.
There is still a question of the truth. I did not do what has been alleged, period. Let the review proceed. I'm not going to resign. I was not elected by the politicians. I was elected by the people.
7 people have now come forward, and as their claims are investigated, numerous top Democrats have called for Cuomo to resign. Turning to new developments in a disturbing murder case in the UK, an officer with London's Metropolitan Police has now been charged with kidnapping and killing a young woman who disappeared last week. And as Renee Filipponi reports, many in Britain are voicing their outrage.
It's here, 90 kilometers southeast of London. Police found human remains hidden in the woods. Today, they confirmed it's the body of Sarah Everard, and a serving police officer has been charged with her kidnapping and murder.
Wayne Cousins, aged 48, has been remanded in custody and will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court tomorrow morning. Sarah's family, of course, have been informed of this development.
The 33-year-old vanished on March 3rd, walking home from a friend's in South London. For days, police scoured the area, looking for any trace of her. Then earlier this week, they turned their attention to Cousins' home in southeast England. The married father of 2 is part of the Diplomatic Protection Unit. The force itself is under investigation for how it has handled this case, and specifically allegations against Cousins for indecent exposure, just days before Everard went missing. For people in London, the case has sparked fear.
Literally where Sarah disappeared was meters away from my flat. Me and my flatmates have all been terrified, as have all my friends around the area.
That terror has pivoted into a heated conversation about violence against women. Though COVID restrictions mean vigils planned for the weekend are banned by police, this organizer says something needs to be done to deal with the threats women face.
Spaces should be safe for women, and that it's not our behaviour that needs to change. It's not about what we wear, it's not about what time we go out.
There are calls for the government to intervene and allow the vigil to go ahead. For now, the Prime Minister says it's a police matter.
I totally understand why this has triggered such a wave of feeling on this issue, on the issue of safety of women and safety of the streets.
An outpouring of anger for the murder of Everard, as her family grieve a woman they describe as beautiful, thoughtful, and incredibly kind. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
The city of Minneapolis has agreed to pay $27 million to the family of George Floyd as part of a settlement in a civil lawsuit.
Even though my brother is not here, he's here with me in my heart. Because if I could get him back, I will give all of this back.
The settlement comes as jury selection continued in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the officer who pressed his knee against Floyd's neck last May. Advocates of changing the culture of policing say it needs to happen from within and at the top. The CBC's Rafi Boudjikanian started digging into the diversity of the RCMP workforce, especially at the higher ranks, and found that fewer than 1 in 4 commissioned officers are women. And the issue of representation doesn't stop there.
Constant barrage of racist rhetoric.
Carolyn Wagner joined the RCMP's Drayton Valley, Alberta detachment in 2000. She's not Indigenous, but had recently been traditionally adopted by the Blackfoot Nation, not expecting abuse from her peers and superiors.
As I was talking about Sundance, they started mimicking me sun dancing while they're sitting in their chairs, and they were, going, oh, like that.
CBC News has learned Indigenous people and people of color are especially underrepresented in the force's upper echelons. Most provinces and territories have fewer than 10 among the commissioned ranks. That's inspector and higher. Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, and Nunavut have none. Particularly relevant in Nunavut, where the Indigenous population is 86%. This as the RCMP's interactions with diverse groups have raised eyebrows. Last March in Fort McMurray, an officer tackled and punched Athabasca Chippewa First Nation Chief Alan Adam.
Mob of people terrorizing.
In Nova Scotia, there were questions about how the force handled a fisheries dispute between Mi'kmaq and non-Indigenous fishermen last fall, including accusations they stood by while Mi'kmaq property was destroyed. This retired inspector, Mi'kmaq himself, says poor representation among higher-ups hurts relationships with communities.
You will see the frontline policing officers in the news clips standing by and watching things happen. But I can guarantee you they are taking direction from senior officers.
The RCMP have developed a new equity, diversity, and inclusion strategy, though they wouldn't share the details. Rafi Wujikanian, CBC News, Edmonton.
Following months of criticism, the Liberal government says a 6-person advisory panel will lead the way in picking Canada's next Governor-General. Intergovernmental Affairs Minister Dominic LeBlanc will co-chair the group, along with Janice Charette, the interim clerk of the Privy Council. Former Governor-General Julie Payette resigned after reports criticized the working conditions at Rideau Hall. More than 800,000 taxpayers will be locked out of their CRA online accounts tomorrow as part of what the agency is calling a precautionary cybersecurity measure. Officials say some usernames and passwords may have been obtained by unauthorized third parties. Those affected will be sent instructions on how to regain access.
Yukoners will be going to the polls on April 12th.
Yukon will host Canada's 5th pandemic election next month. Liberal leader Sandy Silver ended weeks of speculation with that announcement today as his government seeks a second term in office. The Northwest Territories faces a growing housing problem, and for seniors, the crisis is acute. Many have homes that are crumbling around them, and as the CBC Chantal Dubuc shows us, it's left them stranded and desperate.
I cannot flush the bathroom. I've been using honey buckets. I cannot wash clothes.
74-year-old Celine Wayne has running water but can't use it. Her sewer pipe is frozen solid, and it could be weeks until a service person can take a look at it. She feels like there's nowhere to turn. She's not alone. Just a few streets away, another family in the community of Bécancour is having similar problems.
And look at this washroom.
64-year-old Rosa Mantla says she hasn't had running water for months. It's just the latest in a string of problems with her home. And it's making it even harder to care for her husband, who has arthritis and early onset dementia.
If he trip over, he's gonna break his leg or something.
Elders like her can get help with home repairs from the Territories Housing Corporation. It provides seniors with a forgivable loan of up to $10,000. It's part of the Housing Ministry's mandate to make sure seniors can age in place. Trouble is, the application process is difficult. It was so challenging, the Mantla family says, that's why they gave up trying to apply.
I'm concerned about their well-being, mental health, and for their health, overall health as well, because the house is condemned. Like, nobody should be living in that condition.
Celine Wayne is desperate too.
I'm tired of doing it. I cry lots inside. Where is everybody when you need help? And who do I go to? And who do I talk to? I'm not blaming nobody, but that's the way I look at it. That's the way I feel, like I got nobody to talk to. Nobody wants to help me. What is wrong, you know?
But the territorial leaders here now say they're ready to address concerns like those. They've just agreed to review housing mandates and policies to make sure other people get the help they need to stay in their homes and not slip through the cracks in the system. Chantal Dubuc, CBC News, Yellowknife.
The Queen made her first public appearance since Harry and Meghan's bombshell interview with Oprah.
Good morning.
Ahead on The National, one country's push to change its relationship to the royal family.
The time has come to fully leave our colonial past behind.
When Canadians were told to stay home, they stayed on the job.
It's the kindness and support of customers that keeps us going.
Essential workers reflect on a year on the front line. And Ryan Reynolds comes clean.
I often go by another name. Bruce. That Bruce. Yes, that's me.
We'll let him explain. We're back in 2. As vaccinations continue to roll out, Canadians are taking stock, many of us considering what we were forced to change and thinking about what may stay the same. Tonight, 2 stories that contemplate post-pandemic life. Are we ready to throw away the car keys to embrace green technology? We'll go down that road in a moment. But first, is online learning the future of classrooms? Sometimes broken or boring and isolating, online learning has been tough for many Canadian students. But as lockdowns continue to lift, is there anything about it worth keeping? Deanna Sumanak-Johnson takes a look.
Aryan Rao is a good student, but he doesn't like online learning.
It's less engaging than in-person classes. It's easier to get distracted, and there's a lot more opportunity to not do your work.
And he's not alone. In a recent survey by the Toronto District School Board, 84% of students who responded said they preferred in-person learning. This researcher on education says the skills needed to teach well online were underestimated, leaving many educators scrambling or struggling.
Consistently, it is the feeling that you can't there isn't enough time or resources to do the work that's your best work. And I'm also speaking to teachers in Alberta, and it's the same.
It begins with lack of direction from the ministry and last minute decision making, such that I had educators who didn't know the night before they were to begin teaching what courses they were going to be assigned to.
Still, some students say there are circumstances where, with the right teacher, online education works well.
My afternoon teacher tries to do as many interactive activities as possible rather than just the general lesson or talking about a specific topic. It kind of keeps you engaged and it makes learning fun. What is it called?
And those are important tips for the future, since it doesn't look like virtual learning will ever go away entirely, at least not in Ontario. That province has now confirmed it's sticking to its contentious plan made before the pandemic to make 2 online courses mandatory to graduate from high school.
Students and their parents could opt out of that requirement if they prefer to have their entire high school experience done in class.
But the minister said he's leaning towards counting some of this year's online learning towards fulfilling that requirement, something that should make students like Aryan happy as he looks to the future that he hopes involves more class time and less screen time. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
The pandemic has also meant fewer cars on the road, and research shows that reduced air pollution significantly. Now, health experts hope the evidence brings changes that they point out could save lives. Shauna Reid explains.
And they have the inlet for the gases.
For the last 12 months, chemistry professor Hind Elabadle and a team of researchers have been examining air quality in southern Ontario.
The pandemic was the unfortunate event that actually motivated me to look at data.
Comparing that data to the previous 3 years, they found air pollution declined.
We saw statistically significant drops in nitrogen dioxide and carbon monoxide in the months following the lockdown of about 20% beyond natural variability.
Lockdowns and less traffic on the road translated to better air quality, a key to healthy communities. And while it's hard to draw links between air pollution and individual deaths, complex modeling by researchers around the world has linked fossil fuel air pollution to at least 8.7 million premature deaths in 2018. Exposure to air pollution causes and exacerbates many respiratory illnesses and chronic diseases, and now COVID-19.
There are studies from multiple countries now showing that there have been higher levels of COVID diagnoses and deaths from COVID in areas with high levels of air pollution.
This emergency physician says improvement in air quality during the pandemic shows what's possible if Canada continues to invest in a low-carbon future.
You know, it's a moment of crisis, but it's also a moment of opportunity.
They can learn about their air pollution levels compared to other parts of their city.
Air quality expert Jeff Brook is developing an app that explores air quality and the health of communities.
All we know about air pollution and health relationships suggests that any improvement leads to benefits in health that now we'll be studying over the next several years to really try to understand how many lives have been saved.
Brook says the question now is how Canadians will move forward when things eventually get moving again. Tashana Reid, CBC News, Toronto.
Next, 1 year on the front lines of a pandemic. 3 essential workers share their stories from the fears of the initial days to the challenges they've faced in the months since. But first.
Hello, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
This proud but penitent Canadian has a confession. He has a dual identity.
Bruce. No, not the musician. No, not that one either. No, I'm talking about Bruce from that Ottawa Public Health Super Bowl tweet.
He means this, posted accidentally after this year's Super Bowl. When it went viral, Ottawa Public Health got in on the joke, blaming an intern.
That Bruce. Yes, that's me.
That gave Reynolds an opportunity for a laugh and to remind Canadians to stay safe during the pandemic. Think back to this weekend 1 year ago. Businesses and schools across the country were shutting down, and for the first time, Canadians were being asked to stay home to save lives. But for some, working from home was never an option. Essential workers witnessed the early panic and uncertainty up close.
I saw people with like 5-6 packages of toilet paper.
They could never have imagined they'd be working through a pandemic. They were forced to adapt and to protect themselves. And for the past year, essential workers have continued to stock grocery store shelves, deliver packages, teach in schools, and so much more, keeping the country moving when almost everything was brought to a halt. So tonight we wanted to hear from 3 workers in different businesses in different parts of the country. Kevin Schmidt is co-owner of Winnipeg's Downtown Family Foods grocery store. Jennifer Scott is a food courier in Toronto and an organizer with Gig Workers United. And Kulwant Sahota is a taxi driver and the president of Yellowcab here in Vancouver. So I'd like all 3 of you to think back 52 weeks ago tonight, Friday, March 13th. And I'm going to start with you, Kevin. What do you remember?
Well, for me, it's very vivid because my wife and my mother-in-law both share birthdays on the 13th. So for us, dinner plans got canceled. And besides that, I had staff coming up to me in the store saying, well, what are we supposed to do? How is this going to work? And also having staff concerned about with this virus going around, what are we supposed to do? Nervousness of coming to work. So it was a very tense situation at the store for us.
And Jennifer, was it tense for you?
Yeah, I remember spending that day talking to other gig workers and wondering if we were going to be able to keep working. If we had to stop working, would we be able to buy enough food or pay our rent? And I remember that being more important than the conversation around what would happen if we got sick.
Kulwant?
Yeah, this is when the restrictions came out too for us. We were supposed to be having a gathering and it got cancelled, and we were running around trying to get equipment for the taxis, the cleaners and everything. That was all cleaned out of the stores.
I think back to how afraid so many of us were in those early weeks, the places that were closing down. Kulwant, were there times where either you or your family said, I don't think it's safe to be driving a cab right now?
Well, yeah, with lots of other operators on the roads too. I mean, our fleets, they went down from about 300 to about 60 cars. They were afraid for their lives. They didn't know what was happening. It was very scary. Myself, I've got 2 children with low immune systems, and I had a granddaughter that was just turned 6 months, and I was afraid to just didn't want to contaminate them.
And Jennifer, you're going up, I assume, right to doors at a time when people were scrubbing things down that were coming in from the outside. How did you feel about your safety?
Yeah, I mean, as gig workers, we don't have access to any health protections. So I didn't have any personal protective equipment provided by an app. I had to pay for those things myself, and sometimes that was a barrier. And if I got sick, which was something obviously was thinking about a lot, I knew that I didn't have any paid sick days if that happened. And I found that to be sort of the most traumatizing thing.
Kevin, what about at your store? What was the mood and what was the sense that you had and your workers had about their safety?
Everyone was extremely concerned for their safety. We started having daily meetings every morning before the store opened about cases that were coming up, what we can do inside the store to keep our customers safe, to keep ourselves safe, installing our plexiglass guards at all of our tills, and making sure that there was PPE for our drivers who were doing deliveries, and making sure that our customers had PPE too, handing out free masks and making sure that everyone was trying to be as safe as possible, keeping the 6-foot distance, and making sure that we didn't have too many people in the store so that everyone felt comfortable as they shopped.
Kevin, I know most of your customers were kind and appreciative. I'm sure also that was the experience of other stores across the country, but there were some rough moments. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, probably 95% of the people that come into our store would come up to an employee and say, "We really appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you for being open for us." But then you have those people too that they don't believe in COVID. They don't believe that this is as serious as it is. And they don't want to wear masks and they don't want to keep their 6-foot distance. And we did have an employee who was spat on by one of our customers. And it just makes people feel so anxious about that. And stuff like that isn't what we need in the store when we're trying to keep everyone safe and comfortable.
Jennifer, I guess your situation is a little bit different because people are inviting you to they're asking you to deliver food to their place and they can show their appreciation in terms of tips. I am curious, how much did people tip?
We see lots of folks tipping, and in the beginning of the pandemic, folks were really generous, and sometimes folks still are. At this time, though, especially because of the pandemic pay cuts that we've experienced, we see that tips are much more necessary to earning an income, and oftentimes we don't get tips that are high enough to supplement the cost of our 60% pay cut.
Okay, so we're on national TV. Let me ask you this question. How much should people be tipping?
I think $10 is a good tip.
So it's not a percentage thing. It's kind of just adding kind of a $10, surcharge or whatever. It's voluntary, but it's $10 on any bill you'd recommend.
For sure. I mean, you have folks who are delivering things to you, necessities like toilet paper, food, pharmacy items, and gig workers are working for low wages, and so a tip that reflects that is incredibly helpful. Our income relies on that. It relies on getting solid tips, which of course isn't the way it should be. Our employer should be the one who is paying us a good wage. But at this time, it's the kindness and support of customers that keeps us going.
And Kulwant, I would walk by cabs, maybe your cab at some point in Vancouver, especially early in the pandemic, and wonder, who's going inside that cab and how safe is everybody feeling? What was your experience as the pandemic went on?
Well, as soon as we got around, we wrapped our the seats with polythene just to start off with, so that divided the passengers from the drivers. Just made the drivers feel safer, and we had the gloves and the masks for the drivers. We were taking passengers like old age care workers, were taking the nurses, a lot of the construction workers, because construction sites were all open. And at that time, a lot of the appointments were still going on too. So we were just taking the essential workers.
And of course, all three of you are essential workers as well. We all do appreciate whether it's getting food to our homes or going out and buying supplies or being able to take a cab when we need it. It was really important that you and your colleagues provided the services that you did. So thank you very much for doing that, and thanks for talking to us tonight.
Thank you very much.
When we come back, Mark Carney on an urgent crisis facing us all.
We can't self-isolate from climate change.
Why he says lessons from the pandemic could help in the fight for sustainability. And later we look at why Barbados is ready to replace the Queen. Welcome back. As the former head of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, Mark Carney has a rare perspective on the world. These days his focus is on a different kind of green, fighting climate change through capital. In an interview you can catch this Sunday on Rosemary Barton Live, Carney talks to our chief political correspondent about what he sees as the biggest global threats. Here's an excerpt.
Mark Carney, nice to see you. Thank you for making the time today.
Thanks for having me, Rosemary.
So you outline in this book 3 major crises that you see that we are facing: COVID, obviously, climate change, also obviously, and credit. I want to start with COVID because it's sort of top of mind for everybody. One of the things that you write that sort of struck me, because I hadn't thought about it this way before, is that compliance at moments like this is reinforced when policies align with the value of citizens. And you use Canada as an example of where that seems to happen. I wonder if you could give examples, though, of countries where that clearly hasn't happened, where values are not aligned with policies, and so people have pushed back against some of the parameters they've been asked to live within.
Well, we have seen that, and we've seen examples, some examples in the United States, some challenges in some European countries as well. And it starts to some extent towards attitudes towards government, trust in government, trust in scientific experts, and the willingness to follow that advice. And we see it, unfortunately, the consequence of that in terms of health and quite frankly in terms of mortality has been quite severe, and then has caused and necessitated much more severe actions, more severe lockdowns, more extreme measures in order to get the disease back under control. In Canada, we've seen, and to the great credit of Canadians first and foremost, this isn't about government programs, it's about a spirit of solidarity with each other, respect for each other. The Canadians have complied, have taken steps, and have looked to help each other wherever possible through this. Clearly has been a difficult time, but the result has been that we've had better outcomes than many other societies.
I want to talk about climate change because that is where a lot of your life is spent right now, thinking about that. And again, there you compare climate to the pandemic. They are both global problems. We cannot just deal with them individually. Do you think the urgency that we have seen as a result of the pandemic has opened a new window in the fight against climate change, or given added momentum, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it has. And if we'd been sitting here a year ago, literally a year ago, when the pandemic was really breaking, I would have thought, the jury would have been out. I could have seen it going either way. I think it's clearly broken in the direction of added urgency for a few reasons. One, we have a sense of global problems ultimately come to us here. They require global solutions in order to solve them. We all have to play our role. Secondly, we can't self-isolate from climate change. Ultimately, we'll all be affected, so we all have to act. I think as well there's a recognition that the advice of scientists should be listened to. They advised on the risks of pandemics. We didn't fully listen to them anywhere in the world. They've been advising for a long time of the risks on climate change. It is time to listen. But I think as well there's a deeper point, and this is something I tried to bring out in the book, which is when push comes to shove and people think about their value and have revealed their values, it is a value where they value sustainability, a sustainable economy in all senses. And a sustainable economy obviously has a fundamental climate element to it.
One other topic that came up was his view on how badly Canada and other countries were caught off guard in the early days of the COVID-19 crisis.
You do write that at one point that you are surprised that most nations, were not prepared for this, that there had been plenty of warnings, that Canada and other nations had not, for instance, stockpiled personal protective equipment adequately. Why do you think nations didn't take those warnings seriously? And what do you think will be done as a result of what we've experienced?
Well, let's be blunt. I mean, there's no joy in the fact that everyone else did a terrible job on this. We weren't prepared. We weren't prepared in terms of PPE stockpiles. We weren't prepared in terms of vaccine capacity, other aspects, and that is a reality.
The full interview with Mark Carney runs this Sunday on Rosemary Barton Live, 10 a.m. Eastern on CBC News Network and CBC Gem, and 11 Eastern on CBC Television. Next, the Queen makes her first public appearance since that interview.
Oh, good morning.
We look at how Harry and Meghan is resonating in a country pushing to leave the royal family in the past.
I'm Jamie Poisson. Join me for CBC's daily news podcast, Front Burner. Every weekday, Front Burner takes you deep into the stories shaping Canada and the world. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
And I hope the children have enjoyed it too, because they might learn something from it as well.
Welcome back. A school science demonstration was part of this Zoom call by the Queen today. It was her first public appearance since Oprah Winfrey's interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle was broadcast on Sunday. That interview included an allegation of racism in the royal family, an accusation that resonates in Barbados, which is in the process of removing the British monarch as head of state. Stephen D'Souza looks at how it's being done and how that interview was seen there.
There's a conversation with you.
With Harry.
About how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh.
The allegation of racism against an unknown member of the royal family struck a chord around the world. For some on the Caribbean island of Barbados, it was familiar and not at all surprising.
When Meghan spoke of the kind of disrespect that she, as a very, very light-skinned woman, receives, that is all of us. That is the kind of disrespect that we're all getting.
Barbados is looking to become the latest country in the Caribbean to shed the crown and become a republic.
The time has come to fully leave our colonial past behind.
The country's prime minister has long supported the idea and has set this November, the country's 55th anniversary of independence, as a target date. Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Dominica have already made the move. For some activists in Barbados, becoming a republic is less about abandoning the royal family and more about asserting their own identity.
What does it mean for Barbados to be a country that governs itself?
For Chatterton Charles, any questions of racism arising from the interview are bigger than Meghan and Harry alone.
That is just, the icing on the very distasteful cake that has long been colonialism.
That bigger conversation, she says, should be around the painful legacy of colonialism, where Barbados was a hub for slaves and sugar, and that means reparations, payback for all that was taken.
The British monarchy, with all of their grandeur and their wealth, has come on the backs and the blood of people who look like us.
The pandemic may yet delay Barbadian plans to leave the crown, but it's clear it isn't a matter of if, but when. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
When we come back, skating in the wild. The breathtaking moments captured by a Canadian photographer right after the break. What a perfect backdrop for a skate. And that's exactly what Paul Zizka loves to capture with his photography. So-called wild ice skating outdoors on frozen lakes in the Rockies. Those breathtaking moments caught on camera are tonight's moment.
I grew up skating on frozen lakes, so it's something I've done since I could walk, like a lot of Canadians. The thrill of the chase is a big part of it. In a way, the most challenging part of getting those photographs doesn't even have to do with the photography. It's trying to align the best possible conditions for those photographs to just become possible. But there's no denying that we have some incredible landscapes surrounding Banff. So being able to go and do that pond skating, but with those types of skylines, I mean, for me, elevates the experience for sure. it's an activity where the season can be very, very short-lived. So you have to really be able to drop everything and go. And once you're out there on the best possible ice, early season ice, when that skyline is reflected all around you and you're sort of effortlessly zooming past everything, and then you can create with that incredible canvas as a photographer, I mean, it's as good as it gets.
You know, sometimes we use the phrase quintessentially Canadian, and sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't. 100% fits for those pictures. As I said, breathtaking, they certainly are. And they make me feel a little worse about myself since I can barely skate. And now I think any picture I've ever posted that I took with my phone, I really shouldn't do that. Those pictures are just spectacular. That is the National for March the 12th. I hope you can join me on Sunday for Cross Country Checkup on CBC Radio 1. It begins at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then later that evening back here for the National. Good night.